My name is Tiger, and today I'll be doing. Oh, so far,
Tiger
Tiger.
11 hype.
Thank you very much, Tiger. Anyway, today I'll be interviewing, in quotation marks, Gonzo, and I'll be getting some of his thoughts and about his decks. In this case, the 358, the 128th, and the first Panzerman, or the first Panssaridivisiona, however you like to call them. And yeah, I'll play with them afterwards, but if you're just here to see Gonzo's deck, then sure, just be my guest, I guess. Anyway, Gonzo, hello.
What happened?
What happened? No, I don't know, man. Just live, I don't know. Anyway, I guess let's go to the first deck.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm gonna do the 358. I'm not gonna be reading chat, by the way, so chat, if I don't read you, I'm sorry, but I'll try to go through the questions at the end. Anyway, so basically how Gonzo built this deck is he has two snipers in A that come in Daisy. I don't fucking know the name of this thing. And I suppose, judging from other decks, you're a person that likes to utilize snipers a lot, Gonzo.
I mean, you can use them to try and win all the engagements that are at over 500 meters, more or less.
Hmm. I think you're a little
And
bit too quiet. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Try to say something.
I mean, do you hear me now?
Ah, a little bit too loud. You see, this is professional setup. Try
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, I told you.
Yeah,
I trust in you.
yeah, professional. Try again. Gonzo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now it's good. Anyway,
Okay, let's do it.
this is professional setup, like the best of the best right here.
I mean, you
Um,
aren't an amateur on this or something like that.
yeah, no, nothing like that. Anyway, just asking, why do you take them at 2 vent, and not 1 vet?
I mean, you get almost the same. And at vet 2, you can use more or less the recon. I mean, you won't notice anything, but you have the chance there.
Okay, yeah, because you have 1/3 of a chance more to kill someone if you have it at vet 2, just in case someone wanted that information. And I guess the Recon tab doesn't really have much to offer besides the T70. Um, but yeah, BA10's T70, would you think that is an option for someone that wants to build their deck?
Yeah, the T70 is decent.
Okay.
I mean, it isn't a great tank, but you can use it.
I mean, yeah, the division overall doesn't have much in the way of tanks, so I just figured that maybe that would be an option. But moving on, you have this Aperu PSH that went from being the best unit in the game to like no one uses it. That's why Gonzo also doesn't use it. And then you have the obvious Cherno spam in A and B. You have the Aftumachiki. Are you Aftumachiki in A and you don't have them? Oh, you do have them in B. And something you'll see in this deck is that Gonzo has all his units in A and B and no units in C besides one that we'll go talk about later. Anyway, you take the flamethrowers and then you have the flamethrowers in B2 and Shocky DP spam, which curiously you only have one or two cards instead of three,
I
which
think
you
you are
usually have.
missing the transport in the flame squads. It's more or less important. You want to bring them in the half track.
In this? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the image said. Okay. Anyway.
Basically, you want to unload them just in top on the enemy squad.
Mhm. Yeah, and I want to get your thoughts on this because the Studebaker is obviously faster than the M2, but the M2 is a unit or a truck that regular infantry cannot shoot at unless it has a AT rifle. So you think that this exchange of speed for protection is more worth it for units that need to get close to enemy troops, for example, Ottoman Chikis or flamethrower squads, or
Yeah,
Or would you
if you
just take
have
it?
anything like Saperi or Automachiki, you want to use it.
Hmm. You also don't have any Saperis in the stack, which is quite interesting. You prefer to rely on Chernos instead of.
They are really bad at the moment.
Excuse me, they're really what?
I mean, the Saperi are really bad with the numbers per card that you have
Oh, yeah,
at the
obviously you
moment.
have of the 510 nothing in C. So it's something we were discussing in the strike team too, whether Saperis should have a buff or not. Um,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
they were nerfed without a solid reason.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Saperi Pipisacious, at least those units deserve to be nerfed in the past and got nerfed, so that's good. But the other Saperi,
Yeah.
ah, not so much. Anyway, for the amazing tank tab that the 358 has, you have the 2 stars T26E that is slower than a Panzer. Actually, it is as fast as a Panzer 4, I think. Something like that. Then you have the Camarati NB and the T34 NB. And I don't think we need to talk much about this, but w- what do you mainly use your tanks for? Is it for infantry support? Is it to kill other tanks, half tracks?
I mean, with other in other divisions, you can say that you can use them to kill tanks, half trucks. Here is just to infantry support.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
don't have any chance to do anything else.
Well, yeah, but that's why you had the other tabs. Anyway, this is a tab I want to get your thoughts on. Obviously, you have the IG with the fast transport, you have the Phase A Studebaker, and you have the combat in A. And you think, yeah, I think you take it with that. Um, the 50 millimeter mortars have been buffed recently, and now they have 800 meters range. Though I noticed you didn't take them, nor the Maxim. Do you not feel like this division needs it?
I mean, they are good, but you don't really want anything else than the infantry support gun.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the 50 mils are really good now, and the Maxims are an option. Though it's probably because I'm a worse player and really don't understand much in the way of how to support your infantry properly, especially because you have your autocannon tanks and your smaller vehicles. Anyway, for the AT tab, you have the M42 in A. You have one of these in A, and then you have one of these in C, which is the ISU 122. Whoops, I didn't add. You have this in B, and then you have the this two. No, you don't have it. And then you have the M42 in B and one veteran C. So recently, the AP changes made so that smaller AT guns can't just crit spam a tank. And I'm curious to know, do you really think that 45 mils are still a viable option? Because they obviously got nerfed and now they can't
I
just do
mean,
whatever they used to. So,
I think that you are using the old deck, the without the
am I
change
using the one?
that I sent you.
Oh, so you did change something
I mean,
because I
basically
asked you,
you
did you
change
change
one of
something
the
besides the income?
45 millimeters
Okay, you changed it
to
to
the
this two.
37.
Okay, I think that was it, right? B is this two,
I
or
mean,
was it an A is this two?
the 45 millimeter now is a bit worse, but it is still good in A, and to try to kill any half truck, light tank, or recon vehicle.
Well, I'll just assume it's correct. Moving on. Um, for the M17, for the AA tab, you have an M17 and that's it. I guess we don't really have to talk much on why you don't take a Maxim. But an interesting thing that came up on the strike team is that these AA trucks basically don't do anything now. And what we have suggested is that maybe we increase the availability and reduce the price. What do you think of that?
Well, the it is it isn't one of the best AAs out there, but it isn't as bad as some people say. The numbers in general are okay, but in this division they really need a bit more. I mean, just four of those to protect the you from air during all the game is too few.
Hmm.
And the price, yeah, guess that I think it was Mikey that said that 60 points or something like that. It can work.
Okay, word. All right. I was just asking Gonzo because we changed some things in the division. He had changed some things in the last second. I guess I didn't update it. So yeah, that's his AT tab right now. He doesn't have the 45 mil. And I hope you heard Gonzo, but I'm pretty sure you heard Gonzo because I should be the only one that was muted. Anyway, for the artillery tab, we have some really interesting choices in my opinion. And we'll go back to supply in a second. I just need to get this correctly with the correct transports. I'll also post all the decks at the end, so for whoever is curious can just get it. Anyway, this is your artillery tab, and it does have the Mercer, which is a unit that at the start I considered to be a unicorn unit that no one will ever use. Can you explain to me, ish, why you choose to take that unit and if it's any good?
I mean, more or less, it is an 80 gun. You just put one or two volleys of HE top on a Kid Tiger or another heavy tank and you destroy it.
Okay, so you use it more as a anti-tank artillery piece, which I guess makes
Yeah,
sense.
you can also use it against soft targets, so like AA or infantry guns. It's really nice with the 10
Yeah.
HE.
Though I feel like it's a little bit of a waste because it's only 4 rounds per minute ish.
I
So
mean,
preferably.
when each of the rounds has that damage, it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, I can see your point. It's just I guess it's preferable to use it against tanks if you have a tank in the
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
Okay,
Also, the M13s are basically there just to be 80.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. 160 round millimeters of penetration and heat, which heat, for those of you who don't know, doesn't drop off in penetration, so it has 160 at any range. Anyway, considering you have so much artillery in your deck, you only have Phase A supply trucks and Matador, whatever that is, Snap, which are the supply trucks for the Soviet artillery. Why is it that you have so much artillery but little supply trucks?
Mm, you have to think that of those 14 guns, 9 of them are just 80. And the other 4, you have enough supply with the 2A and the supply transport on all of the RT pieces. No, I think it's all.
Okay, so for the last tab, we have the air tab, which is the tab I like the most in any division. You have the Tupolev 25 in A, then you have the Cobra Advent 1, which is something I want to talk about, and B, and you have the two Tupolevs in B. So at the start of the game, I always considered planes to be the more you have, the better, because I just felt like they were so irrelevant when it comes to veterancy, because they died so easily to EA. And I guess that changed now with the new AA changes. And is that something that you have in your head that the better the agility for a plane, the better it is? Or because what I want to come to this is the in the past it was so that the more fighters you had, the better because it would just die to EA anyway. But with the EA changes, obviously fighters don't die as fast anymore. They still die fast, but not as fast. And now you
To be
actually
honest,
can micro your fighters.
right now the extra agility doesn't matter at all because it's bugged. But if they fix it, I guess it will be better.
Okay,
I mean, it will be
so
important.
yeah, because I just wanted to get your thoughts. Why did you put veterancy one veterancy in your fighter? Was it the extra agility or
It was more about the accuracy in the guns. I mean, I don't really want to spend 125 points a lot of times. So better bring one and trusting it to do the work.
okay? Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Also, a unit I noticed you didn't bring in, and that I would consider bringing in, is the Yak 7B with the AT rockets. Why is that? Do you not feel like your deck needs more AT? Obviously, you have that many AT guns in your artillery type, and your actual IS 122s, yeah, and assist 2. Do you not feel like it's relevant to have more AT possibilities?
It is too weak to be used. I mean, with bad resilience, any AA will scare it.
Oh, I'm actually muted. Fuck, I'm such an idiot. Well, what I was trying to ask Gonzo is, why does he not take the Yak 7B, considering it's an AT plane and you might need some artillery AT in your deck? Um, but with all these options here, with the M30 gun and the ZIS-2 gun, um, it shouldn't be a problem. Also, the Yak 7 is too weak with the better resilience, as you heard from Gonzo. Anyway, is there any questions? I guess not. Anything else you want to add? It's obviously a flatline deck, so you should be winning in A and B. Um, and potentially in C if the other division is a Maverick division or Vanguard division. Is there anything else you want to add, Gonzo, or is it all?
No, I think it's all.
Okay, well, let's get on to the first Pansari, which I call the first Panzerman because it's easier to say. And this deck is a Maverick deck, which is really interesting. I always considered Maverick decks to be quite weak. You have the double sniper in A with the BMW, and you have the T Thai dudes this unit in B, the recon unit. And I'm interested to know why you have them at 2 veterancy. Is it because it has the amazing +6 smoke rate of fire, or I'm joking.
Yeah, it's just for that.
Yeah, obviously.
No, to be honest, it is to try and use them like Recum, but they are awful. And at the moment, they are also bugged. They don't use the smoke nade. Um, Almost all the point of them is bring them with the Yakari and smoke your way from forest to forest.
They don't use their smoke grenade? What? I didn't know that.
No, they can't fire it.
But it's not too fast, I see. You have the veterancy and doesn't give you the extra fire rate for your smoke grenades. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's incredibly bad.
You do need to fix that. Anyway, for the infantry tab, we have a really interesting infantry tab. So you have the Nostovaki, and then you have the Kivari in A, and then you have Yakari, 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 Yakari.
You drop this king crown.
You drop the skin ground. Oh, I think that's luck resubbing. Thank you very much, Locke, for the resub. 3 months, man. Anyway, you have the Yakari Yakari.
No, it's only one Yakari in
It's only one Yakari in A. I just noticed it just because I wanted to make the joke, and then I got distracted with the sub.
A.
And then the second, the third, fourth, fifth, and then you have the Yakari. Man, that's fucking vomit sounds in the brackets. That's your infantry tab, and obviously, I think this is the best infantry tab you probably could get with the stack because Yakari are amazing infantry squads. But wouldn't you say the La Junta would be a choice for the stack, considering it's the only unit that actually has HE grenades?
You don't really need them with the Molotovs, and their numbers per card are just awful. I mean, the 80 rifle could be good, but it isn't great.
Okay, well, I think that's all. What we were talking about before the interview was also that it doesn't trade well with other Pioneer squads. And what I mean by that is that it's a 7th rank squad, and usually whenever you do meet another infantry that has grenades, it tends to be a 10-man squad, 11-man squad, 12-man squad. And usually what happens is each squad just does a lot of damage to each other, but they at least survive and have the chance to throw the grenade again. If this unit meets a grenade unit that dies because it only has 7 health, and also obviously the flamethrower units and all that, they die really fast. So it's something we talked about before the interview, and I think it would be relevant to end. Anyway, for the ski CO, oh my god, the flamethrower units for the finish, don't you think it would be an option too, or you feel like the Molotovs are enough?
They they can be used, but without some units to have smoke, they aren't great.
Yeah, also they have the Suomi or the Suomi. What did I say? They also have the Suomi, which is 150 meters range, and then you have the flamethrowers that are 100 meters range. It's always awkward to micro. You'd think the Suomi, they having Suomis would be good because, more accuracy and all that shit, and then they fire from further away and don't use the
It is just a micro nightmare.
Yeah, I think it's better to just not have them for that. Not having to micro them. Anyway, for the tank tab, which I'm really disappointed you for not taking all the T26s in C, by the way. We have the
Nah,
T26B
nah,
at
you only 1/6 and that's all.
that's all. Yeah, they're too good. Like, you don't want to humiliate your enemy, obviously. You're the gonzo anyway. We have the KV1 with the 76. We have the T26. B at 2 Venture C, we have the Sotka 76, the Sturmy in A, that is the command Sturmy, the Sotka 85, and then you just have the German armor in the form of the Panzer 4J and the both Stürmies at 1 Veteran C and B. So really, not much to say about that besides you don't take the T28E. Wouldn't you consider it a good unit for the stack?
Not really. The main gun is too bad versus tanks and don't have a good rate of fire to be used against the infantry.
Well, I guess that's a fair point. Yeah, not much to say besides that I'm disappointed you for not taking the 226s. For the support tab, well, the 50mm and the Finnish division still has 520 meters range, which isn't ideal. They should change that, but realism doesn't allow it. And then you also have the Maxime, which you don't take because you didn't take the Maximes with the other decks either, so only makes sense. One thing I also noticed, you take a lot of commanders. Whenever the game came out, they consider it to be a unit that no one would take.
Yeah, that changed some time ago. They are really important right now.
Okay, well, it does make sense. More veterans in your units survive more, and all that good stuff. Um, about the BT-42, which is obviously my favorite unit in this game, as mentioned in a lot of streams. I always take them in B because you have more cards of it, and really, if you need to get rid of something that is really big, that thing is probably coming in C, in B or C. So, would you consider taking them in a later phase, or do you think four of them should be enough for you to deal with whatever you need them to deal? Because it's obviously the main thing is just the flames shooting at soft targets like infantry and all that stuff. So would you consider taking them in later
The
phases
thing is
or
that I don't really use them versus heavy tanks.
okay?
I use them as fire support and that's it.
Well, if you leave it to the your main tanks and the ISU 152 to kill the heavier tanks, then I suppose it makes more sense if you take the BT-42 and A, so you already have a way to dealing with infantry, especially because you're Maverick, you need to punch early. So having these units in at the start of the game, I suppose is a really good
Yeah, you're right.
thing. Especially in towns, these things just kill everything that's inside of a house. Because if you didn't know, I mean, obviously Gonzo knows, but if you didn't know, flame does more damage inside of houses. So what that means is that the unit will take 50% more if they're inside a house against flame units. So flamethrowers, molotovs, and obviously the flame shells from the BT-42. Anyway, for your AT tab, not a lot to talk about besides that you don't take the Tankiontorjunta, which is the Panzerschreck unit for the first Panzerman or first Pansari, or actually just Pansari. Do you not feel like it's relevant to have a Panzerschreck unit in this division or in general?
No, I will take them, but you don't have the activation point for that. And if I have to choose between the anti-tank rifle and the AT team, I think I prefer the anti-tank rifle.
Okay. Well, AT team is obviously just to snipe transports early on, right? Or are they still useful against tanks? Because I think
Yeah,
now that they
exactly.
changed AP, they're still useful against tanks. That's surprising to me because when I tested them, they were really bad. Like,
You can get some nice suppression versus tanks, but that's all.
mhm, mhm. So you want them to just distract the tanks and kill units coming into
Yeah,
the map
basically.
with, yeah, okay, with their transports. Then you have the 45 mil, which I think is a no-brainer. The Pack 40 in A, but again, you can only take it in A, so not much to say. And you take the Pack 38 in B, which I guess is just to complement your T tab. One curious thing though, in the German divisions, the Pack 38 only has 4 availability in A and 8 in B, and here they have 5 and 10, so something worth keeping in mind. Buff the Jägers, please. Um, anyway, to the anti-air tab, you have the Bofors gun in A and the Nimrod in B. And one thing this division actually lacks is transports for the 20 mils. Would you say if the 20 mils had the transport, so a 20 mil transport, would you take it or would you still consider 20 mils too weak in the current state of the game?
I will say that the Bofors is better. I mean, you can use the 20 millimeters, but at the end of the day, you prefer to have the your AA net around the 37 or 40 millimeter.
Mm, mm. You also always talk about putting veterans in your AA, and I just noticed you have none here.
Yeah, because you bring the commander and upbet it to bet 2 at the moment. It's way better.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have the commander already, so why not? Um, I think that makes perfect sense. For the artillery tab, well, the artillery tab is really lackluster as a whole, but it's still really good because you have the 150 millimeters, and those are basically just all you need anyway. So you just bring in a command or leader unit and the 115B. Um, and I suppose with the amount of infantry support you already have, you won't really be using the mortars in B. So you have the 150 millimeter for counter battery, I'd imagine.
Actually, it's more just to snipe AA. The one
Okay.
thing of this deck is the Air Force, and you want to try and keep it through all the game.
Okay, so you actually just take it to snipe AA, not to obviously also to counter battery, but my first
Yes,
thought that you
you can.
saying this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean you were right. You can also use it to counter battery, but it is a bit more important to snipe the EA.
Mhm. Yeah, my first thought just seeing this was like, oh, okay, he just says it because of the counter battery, but it's actually a good thought to have. Dealing with the EA later on could be really important. So already having the artillery piece there is a good thing. Anyway, for the air tab, you make a really interesting choice for me. You take the J87, and it's usually a unit I don't see a lot. It isn't a unit that is picked at all, and I'm really surprised to see it in your deck. Would you not consider that the resilience that the J87 has, which is bad, and the speed that it has that is really low, is enough to justify not bringing it in? Because most of the times I just see it dying before it can even drop the bombs. Or is it a unit you can usually use?
It
And
became a lot better after the last patch.
mhm,
At the moment, you can see it in a lot of games at the start, especially in A when the A isn't too strong. It is great to snipe like some tanks or 80, even RT if you can see.
okay, well that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I'll consider bringing J87s more into my decks now. That you mentioned that maybe they aren't as vulnerable anymore. It's just in the past they were terrible units. You couldn't bring them out. You also
Yeah,
don't use the
they were
gladiator.
too weak.
Yeah, they were too weak. You also don't use the gladiator, which is a disappointment for me because I'm a Tiabu. I love the
I mean,
British,
it is
so
cute, but it's almost useless at the, in the
it
game.
is good. Yes, you're just trying to satisfy me or something. No, it's a terrible unit. I'm just joking. Um, Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You take them at vet 2, but you explained that in last division, which is basically you just want to buy them once and have them do their job properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, also something worth pointing out, the Dornier 17 in this deck, it has very good resilience instead of just good resilience. Instead of just having medium resilience like the other Dornier 17s, that's something you only noticed today. So if you looked at this deck in the past and said, well, the Dornier 17, it has medium resilience, I don't want to take it, consider taking it because it has very good resilience instead of its counterpart in the German divisions. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. The Dornier 17 Z1 with the 500 kilogram bombs is actually pretty good because it only costs 95 points and you also get advantage, which is a plus. The J87 D5. Do you find yourself using these units in B, the J87 with the AT
Uh,
cluster?
yeah, a lot of times. I mean, people usually doesn't bring a lot of AA or just doesn't invest in fighters at all. So you can snipe a lot of heavy tanks like Tigers or IS2s with them. If they are more or less clever and bring one or two AAs, they are useless. But at that point,
Yeah, at that point as well. Yeah, that's interesting because the new AA mechanic changes and how much damage they do and etc. is really changing some things for me that I didn't catch up, but you obviously did because you followed the meta really closely.
I mean, right now,
J87s.
I will say that the data is way better right now. It's really nice
Yeah,
to can use those things to try and fight heavy tanks with a worse division.
yeah, I mean, you know my opinions about the EA.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
hear them every day in the strike team chat. So yeah, obviously happy with how Eugen has made the changes to EA to make it a little bit more friendly towards divisions that actually um, need it. Well, it's a Maverick deck, so I think it's pretty obvious. You just spam Stugs in B and Yakari in A and B and all that shit. Oh, I put the Panzer IV in A. I'm sorry, it's in B. Now it's corrected. Um, but I imagine it's just you just spam Stugs in B and try to push as hard as possible if you're a carry and kill planes with your airplane, kill heavy tanks with your airplanes and all that stuff, which I think
Yeah,
it's
a big part of the strat with this deck is to focus on the air. I mean,
yeah,
you have a ton of nice infantry and tanks, but if the other player can shut down your air, you're very fucked.
yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously. Um, yeah, it's a heavy, air heavy division with a lot of tanks and good infantry. I think that's really all. If chat has no more questions, I'll just go to the um, next division. Though someone is asking, does the Yakari deserve a nerf?
I don't think so. I mean, the Yakari are really good at CQC, but that's it. I mean, you have like 6, 12, and 18 per card, and outside the 100-meter range, they are incredibly bad. I mean, any Guardia squad can beat them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're really good at CQC and just really annoying to deal with. But other than that, this division also doesn't have many options to when it comes to long range fights. You know, you have the Nostovaki, but they aren't really
Yeah,
that
and
amazing.
even at CQC, there are a lot of Soviet squads that can win versus the Yakari, like the Tanko de Stavniki or the Stravniki with the flamethrowers.
Yeah, yeah, I'll agree with you there, Gonzo. I think the Yakari are needed for this division to work, and we shouldn't only look at units as their own. We need to put them into context and what division they're in and why the division is important to be good. Otherwise, Hungarian divisions would just be really wrecked with their infantry. um, yeah, no further questions, no further things you want to add. Now it comes to I'll go to the more interesting division. That is the 128th Gornostrelkovi Korpus, which is the Marines or the Mountaineers. I actually forgot. I think they're the Mountaineers or the Marines. I don't know. Something like that. They're special, just like me. In this division, I think yeah, you have a lot of snipers, which actually surprises me. Someone did something. Thank you very much for the follow, man.
Yeah, they are there to work as some kind of infantry support gun.
Okay, so
Basically, you have no way to kill anything at 500 meters or so they are support.
okay, um, makes perfect sense. You also take them in B, which is curious because I only see people taking them in A. But I guess it's to fill that role of infantry support unit, especially because this division has the OB-25 that you only really have four of them. Um, for the recon tab still, I'm really curious to know your opinion on the Gorno Razvedka that are basically just the Avtomachiki squads with the Molotovs, and why you don't take them.
I mean, they are good, but they are basically a Tanko de Stavniki squad at 25 more points than they should.
Okay, well that makes perfect sense now that you put it with the Tekutsaniki. Yeah, yeah. They also have radios, but I guess it doesn't really matter to you because you're not big into artillery. So you also have the Morskaya Razvedka that has 8 SVTs, but I guess you do have better infantry in your infantry tab anyway. So yeah. Also disappointed you didn't take the T-38, the swim tank. I love that thing. I
I mean,
unironically
it
take
is
them.
cute, but that's all.
No, I unironically take them. I don't accept this. For your infantry tab, there is a curious choice to me.
I mean,
Yeah.
you said that you were a bit special, so
Yeah, I mean, I just said I was special 10 seconds ago. What else did you expect? But you take the DP group? Why is that?
yeah, they are great due to the jeep. You can bring them at virtue. Versus the Germans, a lot of times, if they found Panzergrenades, they won't do nothing. But against Soviets or infantry divisions that don't have the double MG34, they are really good.
Yeah, I guess it's the veterancy that buys you into them because you also have the Gornostrelki that is a squad that has three LMGs and also has more health, but it doesn't have the veterancy. So imagine you're relying on the veterancy.
Yeah, but they don't have the jeep.
Oh, no, but they have the VC 52. That's 100. Well, it's the same thing as the Opel Blitz, so I can see your point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is slower and you you lost a lot of speed there.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's the same as an Opel Blitz, so at the end of the day, you're just being equal instead of faster. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. You also take the oh my god, Russian. You also take the DP squad in A, which is an interesting choice for me because you already have the double PTRD in the AT tab. And do you feel like you take them in A just because of the PTRD, or is it something else?
Nah, I bring them as a defensive unit for long range. You can bring them to a V, but that is a personal choice.
Okay. Well, it is just you already have the DP group, the amazing DP group, but you already have the DP group for longer ranges.
Yeah, but sometimes you want something a bit more resilient.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that. Makes perfect sense to me. Uh, well, this is the infantry tab, which doesn't really surprise me. Something I talked to you about is the Gornostrelki being a Jäger squad, but worse, which is actually surprising for me to say because I never thought I would have to say that another squad is worse than a Jäger squad.
Yeah, I guess it is due to the buff to the Jaggers. They are a bit better, but they also lack a lot of the infantry options that this deck have. I
Yeah.
mean, the main idea of the infantry tab is just have the Gornostrelki and the Muskaya out, bring a lot of support smoke options for them, and you can do this with the Jaggers.
Mhm. Okay, so you don't think there should be a buff to the Gornostrelki
I
because of
mean,
their environment?
the division should be buff, but not in the infantry tab,
Not the
either on the
infantry.
tank or in the AT tab.
Okay. I also want your thoughts on the Moskaya, the infantry with the smoke grenade. Um, it is the first infantry that is a
Yeah,
normal.
they are in,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're the first.
they are good to bring the smoke and just to support.
Yeah, so you take them as your personal smoke carriers for your CQC infantry, or would you group them together or anything like that, or like would you group? Yeah.
You can use them to try and take ground as a cheap infantry unit, but mainly they are there to go with the Gornostrelki and the Moskaya auto.
Okay, so you do play the smoke grenade infantry together, which is what I would expect from someone that is good in this game, other than me, because I suck at this game. I would never be able to get this kind of micro into my game. um, Staying in the infantry tab, one last question. I really want to ask you about the Morsk after Machiki, which I guess is the 12th man of the Machiki squad with the Thompsons, which does 6 damage, which is double the of the Machiki squad, I believe. Yeah, it's double. Do you feel there's any need to nerf that, or is it a balanced unit as it is just because you can only have one of them?
Nah, it is balanced because it it is the only way that this division can really work. They melt almost all the units, but they are incredibly good.
Okay. mm, Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Um, the Thompson buff, I think, really came in handy for the US division, and the Gornostrelki just got a benefit from that. Anyway, for the tank tab, I'm actually pleased to say you took the first unit I consider good, which is the BT7, and you took the Lees in B and the Lee in A. Um, what is the main role for the Lee in this division? Like, what would you really use the Lee for and the BT7 for?
The BT7 is there to be near the tracks at the start of the game, and then 3D is just they're trying to be a tank, but it's really bad. I mean, it is the weakness that I talked with you before. You can't really fight against anything like a T-34 or bigger. The M3 Lee is just too weak, the gun isn't too good, and the armor is too few to make a difference.
Okay. Yeah, okay. You do need some infantry support for this division, so it makes perfect sense. For the Dushka, I'm surprised you don't take the Dushka and the Dushka truck.
I mean, I will bring it, but the extra 10 points are too much.
Yeah, 50 points for 2 MGs is a little bit weird. I can agree to that. You take the commander. Obviously, you take commanders in every deck now, apparently. I didn't know that actually changed, but yeah. Not many questions when it comes to the support tab. Do you never take commanders in B and C?
I take them sometimes, but they are not worth. It's better that just have them in A and bring them with you can.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, you know the meta better than me than I, so or better than me would be actually correct. Anyway, for the IT tab, you have the PTRS. I'm surprised you also don't take the Gorno PTRS, which is the double PTRS squad. Any thoughts on that compared to the regular one?
They are almost the same, but the Gorno is more expensive and have those SBTs, and they are like a nightmare to micro them and turn them off.
Well, yeah, it seems like you take a lot of units just for the sake of convenience.
Yeah.
Oh man, I do that all the time, so can't really blame you. I mean, a lot of my decks are based on yours because I built them around just
Maybe
to
you should start and try to find some decks that are a bit better than mine.
a bit better than yours. Yeah, no, since Steel Division 44, I've been copying your decks a little bit. I mean, obviously Corbel's decks I copied all the time, but
I mean, it's a
yours,
shame that he isn't here now that the AA is a bit worse.
yeah, it's my fault. Um, anyway, for the AA tab, you have the 25 mil, and you don't have the 37 mil.
I had the 37, but I swapped them with for another Artigan, so I'm not sure in that.
Yeah, not sure. So you'd say that maybe someone that doesn't play with artillery that much could get more EA if he feels like that's a problem.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. If you're watching this and you copy the deck, try to play around it a little bit if you feel like you don't like it that much. That's what I did for a long while, and it really has helped me. Your artillery tab is really easy. It's just the 352 piece and the off map. I'm curious to know what do you think about the
To be
107
honest, I'm
mil?
just trying to use the 52s as safety guns, but I'm not sure if they will work or not.
Yeah, I mean they could also be used as support guns, IG guns, because they do
Yeah,
have direct fire, I
the main
think.
problem is the price. It's a bit too high to be used.
Yeah, I mean you can compare them to the Gebirgs. What's the name? You know the small one for the Jägers, the Gebirgs Howitzer. You could compare them to them, and the Gebirgs Howitzer I think are
Oh yeah,
45 points. I'll check that afterwards, but yeah, maybe reduce the price and see how it goes. Um, the off map, I think it's pretty clear how you'd use them, just places you need to clear quick so you can move forwards. Though, going to the question at the start, what do you think about the 107 mil mortar?
it isn't really useful when you have those 52 guns. 52. Well, I don't know what's the name exactly.
Yeah, the 52p howitzer, light howitzer, something like that. Yeah, I can see that. They also have radios, which is pretty good. Which is something I actually would take the Gornostrelki going back to the recon tab for, just because of the radios.
I mean, you have the infantry leaders, and more or less they work for that.
Do they actually have radios? Wait, you don't have any single radio in this deck, Gonzo. Oh, you actually have the commander.
No, I think you have the
Did I take the wrong one?
Gorno leader. I think you miss it in the yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah, I took the wrong one. In B, you take them, alright. So that's my mistake. Gonzo is forgiven. As you can see, we still have 42 points, and we have a really big air tab here. So this is going to be interesting. Um, you have the Hurricane in A, and you have the Kitty Hawk. You don't take the Hurricanes, which are units I've heard from other people I play with that are good. I'm curious to know your thoughts on why you take the Kitty Hawk instead of
I
the.
had them, but at the end of the day, I wanted to use the AP points in other things.
Um, what I meant is why you have the Kitty Hawk instead of the Hurricane, since the Hurricane is a much cheaper fighter.
Oh, the Kitty Hawk has better guns.
So you take them for the armament. Well, that
Yeah.
makes complete sense. Just asking as a general thing, when it comes to planes, do you usually take the plane that has the better agility or the better gun?
At the moment, I will say the better gun.
The better gun.
The agility is bug, and it seems like all the planes have the same. So just bring the thing with more HE and see the other plane melt.
hmm Um, Now in the third deck, I'll start to come into more general things. So in all three decks, I notice you take the double bombers in B. Is there something is that something you always do? Because I notice you never take bombers in C, and obviously you being an aggressive player, uh, you want that aggression in A and B.
I mean, I could bring them in C, but a lot of times I play the decks in Maverick, and I don't really want to be in C at the time.
Okay, that makes sense. Um, I also notice you take very little AA. Do you think that in 1 versus 1, a area boost is not that bad for you to be able to take?
No, it is a problem, but in these decks you have a really bad AA tab. If you have some of the original divisions, you can bring a lot more of AA. But in these ones, 2 cards is almost the best that you can bring.
Okay. Some questions from chat. What is the best and worst match for the 126?
Uh, the 126 is more about the map than the other division. I mean, the Finnish divisions are a hard counter to them, but the an open map is way worse. If you can't kill any tank at 1,000 or 1,500 meters, it is like GG.
Hmm. Also, continuing the question, are both Finnish divisions stronger than the 128? Is it the 126? It's actually the
I will say
126. Yeah.
the Finnish infantry is a bit better, but the Pansari is worse.
Mhm. Would you actually say the Rapne is better than this? The other one?
No, no, the other one is really bad. I
Okay,
mean,
so I got it the other way around because you said Pansari is worse, but yeah.
oh, I think I misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about the 122.
No, I meant the 126, the
No,
division.
the Finnish infantry is
Oh yeah,
is
yeah,
way better.
yeah. Okay, okay, yeah. Um, you meant the 122nd infantry. Okay. The worst condition is a matchup against armored. Okay, that's not really a question. In which matchup would Gonzo play this division?
Uh, Basically, if I have a CQC map, anything like Cyanum or Tessel,
So it is more map dependent than it is matchup dependent. Is there any matchup you would not take this division at all, even if
yeah,
they're in these
exactly.
maps? Against Berserker? I
Can
didn't
you repeat, please?
I didn't hear that. Um, in what matchup would you not take this division? Uh, regardless of the map, like what division?
Oh, so if we are talking about a close map, maybe against the 78. I mean, they can work, but the Stooks are just a pain in the ass to get rid of.
Well, yeah, I can imagine that. Also, their artillery being okay-ish should be a
Yeah, and
problem.
the Sachin can give you some problems.
What I find really interesting though is that now the Sturmschützen lose to Sturmjägers.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh, incredible.
apparently they nerfed.
I
Yeah,
didn't
apparently
I
they
didn't have
nerfed.
any idea.
Yeah, because I want to transition now to the 28th. That is my deck, and I want you to take a look at it and say where you think I have a problem in my thinking, if that's okay, or you want me to, because the 28th is actually the only division I play anyway. So,
Yeah, sure. But I don't have any idea about the 28th, but let's try.
well, you're the top player. You should know the meta. And obviously the 28th Jaeger is not the meta. So,
No, Loli is the top player.
oh yeah, I forgot Lolly is, or what's his name again? Fucking, his name is so long. Something Frederic.
No, no, don't try to say it. It's like some weird name. Stick with Loli.
I don't, whatever. Yeah, he's the best player, obviously, because he bet you with Korok. Um, anyway, for my recon tab, I keep it really basic. I keep it on the sharpshooter. Though I don't feel I use it a lot. Where do you usually use your sharpshooters or your snipers? Or when? Or with what divisions? With what purpose? Etc.
Uh, do you want to use them as some kind of infantry support guns?
Um, no, because I feel like the Jaegers already
I
have
mean,
two
if you
cards of them, so.
can have a 1,000 meter range, but yeah, with the amount of AGs that you have, maybe you don't want to bring more of them.
Okay, yeah, I just don't feel like I have a better option and don't really want to bring in the KFZ4 because,
Nah, I don't think that you can bring any other unit in that tab.
yeah, just Jaeger Fusilier being pointless and Spätruppen instead of having an MG, they have MP44s, which are now
And at the
kind
end
of
of the
a,
day, the Spectrum are just useless to recon.
yeah, obviously. Well, for my infantry tab, I don't really use Ersatztruppen. Are Ersatztruppen units you would use in infantry decks? Doesn't have to be the Jaegers and just
They
decks
are
that.
good, but having the Jaegers with similar numbers, that good price, I wouldn't bother with them.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good to hear. Surprisingly, I also take a leader in my deck, which I never take. Um, would you feel like, can you see my deck? Like, can you see it on stream?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean,
Okay.
I think the Jaeger Pioneer is the best option for the leader.
Would you feel like I need to take the Jägerführer and B? Or, because
Uh,
obviously I don't have the commander, so,
do you have the arty leader?
no.
Yeah, maybe try to. It's better if you can have one leader in A and one leader in B.
hmm I mean, I obviously don't take the commander, which I'll try to
No, you
incorporate
should
now,
try
but
and bring them. It's
yeah,
really nice to
I'll
have
try
your
them
infantry,
now.
but 2 or 3.
Now that you mentioned it, I'll try to incorporate it eventually. Um, honestly, also has have the double Sturmjäger and A. Not much to comment here. The T tab, tank tab. I'm always curious to know what the ideal tank tab is when it comes to only Stugs, because obviously not only the Jaeger has only Stugs in their tank tab, but also the Sturm division, and I think the Panzer Grenadier division also only has Stugs. How would you take them? Would you take the
I
leader
think I
or?
will bring something like you have there, one in A and two in B.
Okay, so you feel like it's ideal, and also with veterancy. I like playing with
Yeah,
veterancy a lot, but
in that kind of cards like the Shermans, the Panzer Force of the Stooks, it's nice to bring them at bet 1.
hmm hmm okay, yeah. Um, for the support tab, obviously there isn't a lot to talk about. Störs are always units. I change opinions on Störs all the time about whether they're good or not. In your opinion, have you played a division where Stugs can work, and do you feel like Stugs are units that are worth taking nowadays?
They seem to be nice, but a lot of times you have the Panther 3 instead of the Stu, and it's better.
Hmm. Well, okay. Also, your thoughts on the IG-33? I would be interested in that because they used to be really
Too
bad.
expensive and too slow to be used. I mean, the IG-18 is better.
Yeah, I mean there was also still Division 44 stuff. Um, okay, so I'll try to bring in the commander in this stack. I'll do it later, but I'll try it. I promise. Um, when it comes to MGs, now that they have their strength buffed, what do you feel like? When do you feel like MGs are worth taking, or are they still not worth taking? Like um, instead of Division 44, for
I
example.
would say that it is worth if you can have any other infantry support gun.
Mhm. So okay, so whenever an IG is available, MGs are good. Um, this is something I've heard Sean say the other day is if he likes having IGs and MGs because whenever there is a place where you can't really put your G in hard cover, but there's a house there, you can put the
Yeah,
MG
it
there.
it can work, but it depends of the activation points that you want to spend there.
Mhm. Okay. Well, if it fits in, then it fits in. That's basically what you're saying. I also never take the Panzerbuchse. I mean, Panzerbuchse were never a unit I
Nah,
actually.
they are really bad.
Okay, good,
They aren't like the semi-automatic version, so don't bother with them.
good. So I'm happy with that. I feel like I'm asking a little bit too many questions now, and it's starting to wear off. So just go through the rest real
No, it's
quick.
fine.
Okay, well, if the viewers are okay with it, we can just take it a little bit slower. But I want to just zoom through it a little bit. Panzerbuchse 41, APCR changes. What do you feel about them? Well, there weren't
They
really
are
APCR changes, but
incredibly bad right now. Don't try to bring them.
don't try to bring them good because I don't. Fucking martyrs in A are locked to A. I hate it. Martyrs in A are
I mean,
such
martyrs
garbage.
are just useless in this game.
Yeah.
If you have anything to bring instead of them, don't bother with the martyr.
You know, I always liked how they balanced the martyrs and shit in Subdivision 44, where the martyrs would have more range than the 75 guns, including the Panzer IV. And I feel like they ruined it now that everyone has 2000 meters range. Would you like to see something like that back in the game?
Yeah, they you can see that now those glass cannons are really bad in this game.
So
And
Gonzo is saying, I'm sorry, continue.
well, with almost all the tanks having like 40% accuracy at 2000 meters is like useless to have a glass cannon.
So Gonzo is suggesting that we should bring back Subdivision 44 mechanics. What a
Of
sin.
course.
What a sin. Well, air tab. I always play around with the air tab. I never know if I take the Flak Virling in B or the Flak 43
I
in B.
will say that maybe you want to chant them, try and bring the flag Berlin in B and the 37 millimeters in A.
Vetted or not vetted?
I'm bet if you can. If you will have the commander, you don't really need that extra bet.
Okay, you have a point. Yeah, now that I have a commander, we'll have to think about some other stuff. Um, the Storch is a unit I always debate myself with whether I should take it or not. Obviously after 8 they're just useless, but off my planes, what's your thoughts on that?
They can work. I mean, the off map right now is really strong, so it doesn't matter if it is a plane or it's a normal track.
Okay, yeah, okay. I like it for what division was it again? There's one division I really love where the off my plane is really fast. I just forgot the name of the division. I think it's the
Oh,
Rapina.
the one from Lobas.
No, that's not it. That's a it was a monoplane. I'll try to find it out later. Um, oh, here's the thing I always wanted to ask you. Naval Warfares. Juicias, Kachushas. Worth it or not?
I don't usually bring them, but maybe they are worth to try and kill some heavy tanks
My main
or
issue with
a.
these things was that it takes the whole supply truck to actually resupply them. So
Yeah, that's a bit annoying.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I take that into consideration and I go, nah. um, and then my air tab. I mean, you can imagine what it is.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The duck. This is the best unit in this game. Ah, you see the two eyes here, and then the little ducky thing.
To be honest, the sad thing about the duck is that the 37 millimeters is way better.
It's actually true. Yeah. It's much better because it reloads so much faster and it's cheaper and it can kill anything. It's also faster in terms of speed, which I didn't know, but I guess there you go. It's just so good. Yeah, I mean, Gonzo, that's really it. Is there anything else you want us to talk about? Chat, if you have any questions, go now because later on he will not be here anymore. Unless you want to play with me, I don't know.
I mean, I think I can play one if you want.
You want to play one? Okay. I'm not gonna play one versus one against you because it's fucking cancer. Well, there are some questions here. What is Gon's favorite division and the one he feels the most safe playing with?
I mean, at the moment, I will say the 126, but it's just really fun to play. It's awful to try and try hard with them.
Okay. And the one you feel the most safe with?
I will say the 44th in the Soviet side.
Really? That's surprising. I've
Yeah,
never had thought that you
I
were.
mean, you have a lot of T-34s and a great infantry tab. It's amazing.
Okay, well, if that's what you say, I honestly would think you would like the third Tankovy more, but
I mean, yeah, 3OP is the best one, but I am talking about decks that you can actually play.
Oh yeah, I mean you're the tournament player. Forgot about that. Oh man, I miss the times when I used to play tournaments. All right, so Vincent is asking, Tiger has a
Hey,
great
maybe you
streaming
can try
voice.
and bring the 28th.
Yeah, people want me to play against you, one versus one. Uh, Gonzo, do you want to really fucking rape me in front of 20 people? Yes, no.
I mean, I can, but
I'm gonna cry here,
do
chat.
you really
Well,
want to them to see that?
I could try that. All right, let's try that, and then we play a team game if that's all right with you, Gonzo. Or do you not have time? Because
I think
obviously,
I will only play one, but
all right.
one will be enough.
I have a replay of me playing against you. I'll just upload it eventually, and then you can see me playing. Actually, 126 against 28 Jägers. That was the game. You
Oh,
can. I'll upload it. You'll see it on YouTube. You can
oh
watch it later
yeah, that was incredibly wow. That was awful to play.
because of what's it's Krupa the name of the map or Bobber, the one of the bridges. I think it's Bobber,
I
right?
think it was Krupka, if I am not wrong.
Krupa. I don't know. Vincent saying I have a great voice. ASMR. You want me to? What the fuck? Um, nice relaxing stream. Oh, thank you, Rick. Um, how do I win with the 15th Infantry? Vincent is asking. The Scots.
You don't use the Scots.
Perfect analogy. I wouldn't have put